2023 has been off to a strong start with some amazing indie game releases. But what's on the horizon? What future indie release will be a bona fide Game of the Year contender? Well, here are my most anticipated upcoming indie games for the rest of 2023. Gunbrella is a gritty, noir-drenched Metroidvania meets action platformer created by the developer of 2019's monochromatic romp Gato Roboto, featuring my favorite Swiss Army-style weapons of any game on this list. As a gruff woodsman with a flowing scarf, you're donned with your signature Gunbrella, a gun and umbrella fused together as one harmoniously floaty death instrument. On your quest for revenge, you'll investigate a number of NPCs and blast your way through cults, gangs, and various other ne'er-do-wells while looking damn cool in the process. Thanks to the currently available demo, I already know going in that the combat is solid and the overall vibe goes beyond its autumn hues and rusty tones. Now, longtime viewers of the channel know I love me some 3D platformers, so I have to feature Koa and the Five Pirates of Mara here. The Mara universe is expanding with a platforming adventure that rewards players that enjoy a speedrunning challenge as well as those that take their time and collect everything there is to offer. This means it'll be great for those that want a challenge and those that just want to relax with a 3D platformer like I do. The team initially asked for $32,000 roughly on Kickstarter, but has raised over $250,000, which shows the sheer level of hype around this one, and by the looks of it, it's justified. From 3D, let's go back to 2D, and how about a game with some serious Game Boy Color vibes created by the team behind an indie powerhouse. Mina the Hollower is the latest from the Shovel Knight Geniuses Yacht Club games, with classic Zelda influences abound and pixel art that grabs my nostalgia and shakes it awake. As Mina, you'll be embarking on a cursed island filled with hazards, monsters, and bosses galore. In addition to burrowing underground, you'll use your trusty whip along with sidearms that can give you the advantage you need in combat. The pixel art, level design, and music shown off so far is incredible, and with Yacht Club behind it, we may have another bona fide indie classic on our hands very soon. Now, when it comes to farming and life sim games in 2023, none catch my attention more than Sunnyside. This game aims to innovate on the genre by keeping many of what fans like while moving away from some long-standing traditions in the process. Farming is set to be more streamlined with the ability to automate more and have more modern technological conveniences at your disposal. Combat is another area that Sunnyside wants to differentiate itself from its peers, opting for JRPG-style turn-based combat rather than going into a mine and bonking the heads of slimes, for example. The overall setting has more modern Japanese flourishes as well, and graphically I'm just as impressed with what we've seen so far. I look forward to crafting my own cheese and meeting NPCs later this year. Wario Land fans have been down bad for a long time until 2023, and now we're getting two indie games that look to carry that torch. After January smash hit Pizza Tower, we now have Anton Blast to look forward to later this year. This pixel art side-scrolling platformer sports a Game Boy Advance aesthetic and plenty of screen-shaking chaos that I'm looking for in a Wario Land-inspired title. Anton will be smashing and bashing his way through a number of levels in a quest for revenge against Satan himself, and using your mighty hammer, anything and everything is destructible. Platforming can take place between the foreground and background of levels, and in Wario Land fashion, you'll need to dash your way back to the beginning of levels once you've reached the end of them. I'm sure I'm gonna love this one, and whether you've played Wario Land or not, you probably will too. Now, my standout RPG representative of this list goes to none other than Sea of Stars. This retro-inspired RPG, developed by the same team behind The Messenger, looks absolutely beautiful with pixel art that stands up to and in many ways exceeds the classics. The turn-based combat will have some active elements, and timing the action button perfectly will lead to more damage as well as incoming damage reduction. This, in combination with no random encounters, leads to an experience that Sabotage Studio claims will be more immersive and grind-free. Now, those are bold claims for sure, but if they can pull it off, we'll be left with a stunning looking RPG with plenty of twists and turns that will stand the test of time. The wait's almost over as Sea of Stars launches on PC and console this August. The roguelite I'm most looking forward to for the second half of 2023 has to be Hyper Light Breaker. This is quite the departure from the game's predecessor, but from what little we've seen, I'm pretty optimistic that this will shape up to be an awesome addition to the Hyper Light series. You'll face hordes of enemies and third-person combat on vast open worlds, but you won't have to do so alone. Hyper Light Breaker features online co-op, which is great to see, and also great to see as meta progression to make each run feel impactful. It looks like much of the movement cues have been taken from Solar Ash, which is a smart move, and while it can be tough to create a memorable world with procedural generation, it looks like Hyper Light Breaker might be here to meet that challenge. With being a massive 3D platformer fan, it's no surprise that I have to talk about the Plucky Squire. In terms of its overall presentation, this is one of the most creative efforts within the genre this year, no question. It seamlessly switches changes from a cartoony 2D perspective into a Toy Story-esque 3D presentation that sees the main character Jot jumping right off the page. From what we've seen of the combat, puzzle solving, and story elements, the Plucky Squire has a ton of variety packed in for an adventure that I don't think I'll ever get bored of. We'll likely see even more of what's in store during the summer slate of showcases, but I think I've seen all I need to know that the Plucky Squire will likely contend for my 3D platformer of the year. My most anticipated Metroidvania of the year is, of course, Hollow Knight Silksong. Now, I really don't think there's much to say at this point about Silksong that hasn't already been said, other than, hey, it's more Hollow Knight, and that's a good thing. What I can say though is if you really dive into what's been shown off in trailers at this point, there's some subtle yet significant differences to platforming and combat. Pair that with what seems like more injection of color into this world, and Team Cherry clearly knows what they're doing. I think satisfying such a passionate fan base has to be an immense undertaking, but the development team isn't taking it lightly, and that's supported by the recent delay. They don't want Silksong to be a sophomore slump, and I really don't think it will. Will it be the phenomenon that was the original though? That's the real question, and I can't wait to find out. I've been hoping for a new Jet Set Radio game for a long time, and leave it to an indie team to make that happen. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is the next game behind Team Reptile of Lethal League fame, and this has Jet Set written all over it, right down to featuring the series composer Hideki Naganuma. You'll traverse the 5 boroughs in style as you rack up combos, hit graffiti spots, and face off against rival crews and the cops on a quest to find your head. Every part of this game is brimming with style, from the music, the cel-shaded presentation, and UI elements like having a retro-futuristic flip phone, which warms my heart to see brought back in video game form. While it's an undertaking to make it out of the shadows of your inspirations, my hype is through the roof, and Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, like all the games featured here, is a day one purchase for me. So what indie games are you looking forward to for the rest of this year? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to discover more indie games, and I'll see you in the next one.